Roll for Crit here with a quick news video. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And we're here because Riot Games announced a brand new addition to their somewhat limited game library up until today, and that is a new digital card game called Legends of Runeterra, which takes place in the League of Legends universe, uses all the characters and settings from that world in that game, but puts them into a brand new digital card game format. So this is going to look probably familiar to you if you've played any of the number of other digital card games that have come out in the past years. I think both of us, when we looked at this, immediately it's impossible to not think of Hearthstone. That's just so permeated the digital card game market that everything kind of looks like that at first glance. But there are some key differences to how the gameplay works in this one. You're going to be constructing a deck. How that works we'll get into later, but once you're out there, you'll be playing cards, and on a turn, one player is going to be on the offense, the other on the defense. Only the player with the sword symbol in front of them will be able to make an attack that round, while the other player will be able to defend. You receive 1 mana at the start each turn, and that will increase slowly as the turns go on. And when you play a unit to the field, you will be able to attack with it or defend with it right away. There's no summoning sickness. There's more of an emphasis on this back and forth dynamic, and you'll be able to react right away to what the other player is doing. You'll also have spells that you can play, and you can even bank some of your mana up to 3 specifically for your spells. So if you don't have anything you want to do with it, that's another little strategic thing that you can do. And ultimately, you are trying to defeat your opponent, bring their life down to 0, which you do by once their field has no units in it that can block you, you attack them directly. So Will, you are a lot more familiar with League of Legends than I am. What was your reaction to this announcement, and what do you think of how the gameplay looks?
All right, to be honest, as you said in the beginning, I'm just like, oh boy, another Hearthstone. I'm not big into this, but I do really like the lore, because I actually played League of Legends a ways back. I quit for good reasons. I don't think, for the best of all my teammates, I think it's best. I never got past silver. And it's really cool to see cards, and what I'm seeing at first, it's not just the champions, even though they have a lot of champions now. They had a lot back when I was playing. But we're seeing cards of people who were in their stories but weren't champions, like lost lovers or other people who knew, or even new people. So I'm really happy that this is going to be used to explore sort of the world a bit more, that at least in a way that we could see it a bit more, because that's what I always am excited about, the lore.
Yeah, the way that they're presenting it, I think, is really cool. It has all new art. Every card has original art, and there's also this thing where you can unlock the full art of a card. So you will, instead of just a little picture, it'll even blow up to see an even larger portrait. So yeah, I think if you like that lore and the characters, they're paying a lot of attention to that detail, which is nice. Do you think that it sounds like this will stand out enough in terms of the gameplay from Hearthstone or any of these other games, Artifact or Gwent? That's pretty different, but you know.
I really don't think they have to worry about Artifact. I'm pretty sure that has crashed.
That's dead in the water.
And Hearthstone may crash soon because it sounds like with all the trouble Blizzard's in.
Right.
So
this might be the perfect time to swoop in.
Yeah. I think I don't know whether gameplay will beat them, but more of situation wise, it may just be the one that's still standing. What it has to worry about is Magic the Gathering Arena, I think, is its biggest competition. Because, Magic has been around for a long time, and their whole thing is, we have nothing random. Yeah, you can buy everything singular. I guess we'll go into that a little bit later. And that's really, I think, where it's going to be, not the gameplay. I think it's going to be how the building mechanics will work between the two sets.
Yeah, and there is some very fascinating stuff. As much as the tweaks to the gameplay are interesting, probably the bigger impact from this, it's from what it sounds like from the announcement, is the way that they're handling, their version of unlocking new cards. So why don't we talk about it right now?
How it works is they're going to be starting regions. These are the sort of main territories like Demacia from the League of Legends sort of Runeterra world, and each world will have 4 champions. You actually decide which region you're going to level up in and get cards from. So if you're trying to build a very strong, like I said, Demacia deck or Noxus deck, you level up in those areas, and maybe if you want cards from a different one, you can jump over to that at any time. The other thing is that there's going to be 2 form of currencies, because this is a free-to-play game. One of them is shards, which is sort of the currency you earn by playing, when coins are what you get for paying. The shards can be used to buy these chests, which you can get chests every week to get either wild cards, which actually can be transformed into any card, or spend enough shards to get a specific card you want. So sort of like a singles market. The idea behind this is they want to try to balance they don't want the randomness from packs, so you don't keep trying to spend in order to get the card you want. But according to them, they also don't want you to just get all the cards so that the meta isn't already solved in the very beginning. So that's the idea behind their progression system. So try to get a balance between the get everyone getting everything versus the just never getting the cards that you need.
Yeah, I believe they said that the random packs, or what their equivalent of them, would only be received through regular gameplay. You cannot buy random packs.
Yes, that is correct.
Which is pretty remarkable. I mean, so to be able to, you'll still, like for the wild cards, for instance, the way it works is like if you get a common wild card, you can make it any common that you want, still the same rarity, but just that simple fact sounds kind of game-changing to me in terms of how people interact with these games and how they build their decks. It does sound a lot more friendly to the consumer, to me.
In some ways it is. It still, to me, has a lot of the trappings of a free-to-play game. And I think, like I said, I really do love the lore of the world, but this is like, and I really like their Mechs versus Minions game, but it's like a trading card game was like the place I wouldn't want them to go, honestly.
Well, I think that you are very, very skeptical, or tend to be compared to me, of these types of
systems.
And
I'm in multiple trading card games. We should mention that.
For good reason. There are a lot that are very predatory and that are not consumer friendly. But this really didn't. It sounds to me like they are really going out of their way. Of course, they want to make money, and at the end of the day, you're paying to get good cards.
No, I mean, it's a lot better, and I will say, Riot, like League of Legends, I felt like it was on the kinder side, but it's a card game, and they mention how, like, one of the things I didn't like their argument of like, oh, if we gave you all the cards, you'd solve the meta quickly. The meta will be solved quick enough at this point. The internet will show every card in the preview release. It will be solved. I think with the internet, that's just something we can't have. I mean, you can't avoid.
I think the thing there is more not that they don't want people to solve it, but that one, if you have solved it, they still don't want you to be able to do it right away. They want you to have to experiment with different decks, I think. And so if eventually you play enough and hit a point where you do get whatever is currently the best deck, that's fine. But they just don't want you to be able to, like, if you're willing to spend $500 week 1, they don't want you to be able to just have it right away, I think is what it sounded like to me. That was what they were going for with that. They're not solving it, but I think they are lessening, or at least slowing it down to give people more to do.
I'm just a fan of the LCG model where I can have everything, and sure, I could play the spike, but because I have everything, yeah, I can mess around with stuff now.
Sure, but I mean,
I can make that silly combo deck that shouldn't win 90% of the time, but when it goes off, it's hilarious.
I mean, I'm with you, but I also feel like at the end of the day, maybe it's not really fair to like judge us by LCG standards because it is a CCG. Like it's very different model.
No, that is true. It's just they've already made it a board game, so I'm just saying. I just find a lot of these free-to-play digital, like you said, I'm very skeptical of when the term free-to-play comes up.
Right. I've played Hearthstone. I didn't get too deep into it, but I enjoyed the model of it. And I think it is possible to have fun with these games without spending too much money. Another thing that I appreciate that they're doing is, like you kind of alluded to, that you can you can change your region at any time. So if you're really trying to build a certain deck, you can guarantee you will get cards from that region as opposed to ones that are useless to you. It's pretty friendly.
I will say, when I first read that, I was confused because I'm like, well, why would I change from like North America to Japan or something?
Different region.
I was thinking like region lock. No, I mean, that is a nice thing because that way you can just focus on your deck, and also if you know that set's strong, you can just focus on where the stronger one is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is not my favorite genre either by a long shot. And will I play it when it comes out? There's a good chance I won't. I might try it out. I might not. I mean, it is free, so that definitely puts something in its favor.
I feel like because I'm saying so much bad stuff, I have to try it out now to check myself.
But I have no doubt that I would have fun with it. Like I said, I liked Hearthstone. I like these kinds of card games. I get bogged down with all the deck building and the collecting, I think, in a similar way that you do. But it looks to me that if you like those kinds of games and you like the world of League of Legends, I think they're doing everything right here.
They probably are. Like I said, I really want like physical stuff or like one-time purchase. Like I'd rather pay the $60 for a game than a free-to-play because I'm also in the group. I think the problem is you're not. But I'm in the group who's easily targeted to become a whale. And that's what bothers me. It's sort of
you
like
have a weakness, you're saying, to where you would feel pressured to buy a lot of cards.
Very much so.
I mean, we come primarily from the world of physical games, and I won't lie, when I first read the announcement that Riot Games announced a new League of Legends card game, I was excited thinking it was a physical card game, and a little disappointed that it was a digital card game for sure, because, like you said, we did really think that the Mechs vs. Minions board game was really strong. So there's a lot going on here, a lot to discuss. A lot of it boils down to whether or not the game is actually fun when people get their hands on it. You can sign up right now. You can pre-register, and they have a whole schedule we'll post where it's going to officially launch sometime in 2020, but they're also going to do like some beta tests and some other preview stuff that they're doing. So you might be able to play it a little bit earlier, and we'll find more details about how exactly some other stuff works, like, you know, the quests and the whatever, if they have some kind of a campaign, you know. There's a lot of other things we still don't know yet. But I'm sure that people watching this have opinions and want to leave them in the comments, what they think. Does it look like too much for you? Are you a fan of these digital CCGs, or aren't you? Talk to us in the comments down below.
I mean, feel free to shoot me down. Like I said, I think a lot of it just comes from I'm really just hate seeing my weakness shown in all these free-to-plays, and that seems what everyone's doing now. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and when I get the chance to try this out, to say at the very least, like, the game is fun or not, because it deserves that.
Thank you for watching, everybody, and until we have something else to talk about in the near future, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
This is Roll for Crit.
If you want to help out, you can check out our Patreon, or a simple click to like and subscribe can go a long way.
We really appreciate everything that you can do for us. We love you.